Hey everyone, it's Miss Gober here, and I am with a special guest, Miss Jennifer Sims. Since we have been talking about, how we can manage stress and encourage nutrition and health education with, any instance of education in the school system, I wanted you to hear first from a teacher who is doing that sort of thing. So. I'll turn it over to Miss Sims, and you can tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Um, I am a second grade teacher currently. I've also taught first grade, kindergarten, and third grade. Um, so, uh, a pretty wide range of experience levels. Anything else?
Okay. Okay, so if you can't tell, there's a resemblance. Jennifer, my sister, and we actually recorded this video yesterday, and it didn't save. So she's at our house right now in my dad's office, and he is a super fan of baseball and football. So that's where we're at right now. Yeah, so if you could, we've been talking about how we can incorporate health and nutrition education into the curriculum. So, can you tell us a few things that you do in your job as far as incorporating those types of lessons or activities?
Yeah. So we are pretty tight on our schedule of pacing guides for what we have to teach and cover in a year. So we just have to get creative in how we can incorporate any type of health or physical activity into the classroom. And so most of the time it's physical activity that we're able to incorporate, especially with little kids. They can't sit in the chair for very long and sustain their attention. So any type of movement really helps them to focus and sustain the information that we're covering in class. One program that we use quite often is called GoNoodle.com. That's a website that a local hospital has purchased for us to use. And on that website, there's lots of different videos that we can incorporate on a daily basis, whether it just be for indoor recess. It gets the kids up and moving. They have Zumba. They have just running games that they can do in a small space. Kids bop songs that have dance moves. But then there's also some videos that we can plug in vocabulary words, spelling words, and it has them use their bodies to act them out or spell them out. So just lots of different ways that we can get the kids moving in a normal lesson, spices things up, gets them excited, and most importantly, gets them moving.
Right. And in our class, we've talked about one, the recommendation for kids exercise each day is 60 minutes of moderate to intense play. And, whenever they're going to school for most of the day, that can be really hard. And then throw in the fact that they don't maybe have recess every day or they don't have PE every day. So those are the kind of things that we need to think about is how we can incorporate physical activity into the lessons because like you said, it does help with concentration and it can help them relieve stress and it can help them kind of, start fresh with whatever you're discussing. And then it's really awesome whenever you can make it educational and fun at the same time, I think.
Yeah.
So, other than Go Noodle for incorporating physical activity, is there anything that y'all do for discouraging risk behaviors like drug and alcohol use or nutrition, anything like that?
Actually, this particular week is called Red Ribbon Week in our parish, and we're focusing on a drug-free lifestyle this week. So each day there's a slogan. Today was something had to do with tie-dye because I'm wearing tie-dye. And
yes,
I don't remember what the slogan was, but it has something to do with maybe peace out to drugs or something like that. Tomorrow is a different theme. They're doing red, white, and blue. It's all about being, gosh, I should probably read what the I send home are. But it's all about being drug free, and we talk about it each day, and the kids are dressing up with the theme of the day, and just talking about tobacco and drug free lifestyle. So that's one thing that we do. As employees, we have to also do different certifications to look for risk behaviors in students. We do a bullying prevention webinar each year, and we have to take a little quiz at the end and get a little certification each year just to know what to look for in students. We have a very open door policy with our office staff, our counselors, and to know what direction we need to move in if we notice any of those behaviors in the students that we teach.
Yeah, and we've talked about risk behaviors, especially among the youth, and how important it is to see those signs, because not only do they have like negative effect or penalty at this point in their life, but also those are behaviors that are that turn into habitual habits and practices that they eventually will carry into adulthood. So the sooner we can intervene on those not so good behaviors, the better we can produce citizens that are kinder and communicate better and are healthier in general too. So that's really good. What about, you mentioned something about like managing stress. How do you incorporate that into your classroom?
Well, we've noticed over recent years that it's really an issue, not just with older kids, but the little kids that I teach, and they don't really know how to deal with it so well. So we have just different strategies that we use to manage their stress, mostly around test days. Yeah.
Hey.
Have a visitor. The same Go Noodle website that we use for physical activity. There are several stress management and breathing activities that we can do. We'll pull those up, and the kids will practice breathing, and we'll do that in between tests or at the end of a test, or just a focus activity to get ready for a test.
So I think you like hit the nail on the head in that kids, like even young children, like they experience stressors just like we do. And just like adults, like sometimes we feel so anxious and stressed, and we didn't even realize when those feelings like approached us, or where they came from. So if even as adults we can't identify stressors in our lives, or we can't feel that we feel stressed before we're so anxious and we've like kind of hit rock bottom, kids aren't going to know either. So teaching them how to identify when their things are stressing them or worrying them, and how to sort of intervene so that they don't act out. So like I'm sure if you have kids, or and it depends on their family home like life too. So like not only are they experiencing stressors in the classroom, but they have to go home, and that looks different for all of them. So teaching them coping skills, I think, is really important.
Yeah, because you'll notice that kids just have a lot more stress that they're exposed to, a lot different home life than we probably were accustomed to when we were kids. So they just see a lot of things. And so anything that we can teach them in the classroom to help them cope with it is good. We also have different videos and lessons that we'll do to help them have healthy relationships with others, because social and emotional health really plays a huge part in health education also.
Yeah, and we've talked a little about in the class about how chronic stress, like the stress response, actually can affect like your physical health. So teaching kids how to manage stress and, be able to cope socially is really important, not only in like a social and emotional standpoint, but also as a health standpoint into adulthood too.
Mhm.
So, like, do you find that there's, as a teacher, any barriers to incorporating health and nutrition and just overall like wellness education into your classroom?
Really, it's just time. It's a time factor. We're really pushed to meet different standards and follow a sequence and a scope of events that we're supposed to cover. So we try to do it in as embedded as we can to include as much physical activity. Nutrition is probably the most difficult part, but I make a pretty conscious effort to touch on some of those things, especially when we go just to the lunchroom. There's lots of different
posters and stuff up there for them.
Yeah, there's lots of posters around talking about a healthy plate. The kids are encouraged to get certain items on their plate. They have to get certain things, but they do have some choice. This year, there's a new program that allows the kids to, on certain days, get a wrap instead of their regular meal or a salad. So they do have options. They're learning to make healthy choices for the meals that they eat. So we just touch on it in any way that we can.
And we're going to talk about in like later in our next module how school nutrition plays a role in feeding and teaching the kids about nutrition. I have a friend, a dietitian that I've worked with, who is now over Calcasieu Parish, and that's where Jennifer teaches. If you didn't catch that, she's in Calcasieu Parish. But it's really up to the school board to kind of like take the reins on how they provide school lunch and in what capacity they educate to. So y'all have seen a lot of changes in Calcasieu Parish and that I think are positive changes that are getting more kids like enrolled and excited about the school lunch program.
I was at a very low income school for the past 8 years, and the last few years that I was there, lunch became completely free for every student. So all students had access to a healthy lunch. And the new school that I'm at this year was enrolled also this year. So they're adding many more schools each year to this free lunch program, and it's available to all kids.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then I know we'll talk more about this, but they do stuff during the summers too.
We have summer feeding programs.
So have you been able to see like a direct benefit of incorporating more physical activity and like stress management exercises into your classroom?
Oh yes, I mean there's only benefits. There's never any harm, especially with little kids. When you try to incorporate any type of physical activity, it improves brain function, their attention, and just when you're using different parts of your brain and your body, it just really helps the kids grasp whatever topic you're working on.
Yeah. And I think like maybe some teachers might be nervous to try to implement it because they think it might be more work or more
crazy.
Crazy, yeah, like hard to control.
Yeah.
So do you think that's true at all?
I understand the anxiety behind it, but these are things that you work out with your kids in the beginning of the year, and you set the expectations, and the kids know them, and they appreciate any type of fun that you incorporate into your lesson. So as long as you teach the procedures and learn classroom management strategies, it's totally effective.
And you kind of mentioned this, like, as they enjoy anything that's like fun for them, and probably remember those things better too. Anytime you can connect a fun activity with a topic, I think that they're probably more prone to remembering and being able to recall and implement that sort of thing too.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, cool. Is there anything else that you want to add?
Have I left anything out?
I think we pretty much covered it all. So
Good.
well, thank you for chatting with us. Hopefully this video records. And we won't have to
Try again.
if any of my students want to chat with Miss Sims about the types of things she incorporates into her classroom, I can give y'all her contact information. If you would be okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, y'all will watch this video and then you'll do your Flipgrid form that I'll put on Moodle too. So thank you very much for
Thank you.
this. All right.
All right. Bye.